Welcome back to Joygasm, where we geek out about video games, movies, and pop culture. I'm Russ, Xbox Live Toaster 360, and with me is Steve, Xbox Live Stevavitch, as we plunder episode 66 today, April 7th, 2018. To get the most out of Joygasm, follow us on social media and YouTube. Just do a search for Joygasm TV. In addition to iTunes and Android, you can listen to our podcast on TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.com/Joygasm TV. Also, for exclusive access and some sweet goodies, check us out at Patreon.com/Joygasm. And no matter which platform you use to enjoy the show, please drop us a subscription, thumbs up, or a review. It helps us build awareness, which we appreciate, of course, always. This episode will be a little more short and sweet as we just kind of talk about what we've been up to, and then we just dive right into the topic of the day, which is Steve's suggestions for Overwatch. And speaking of, how you doing, Steve?
Yo, Russ. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Well, to respond to you in the same way that you did, I'm all right. Do
you feel older?
I don't, actually. I do feel older in certain ways, but it wasn't because of my recent passage into 39dom.
Have you looked in the mirror yet, Russ? Yeah, I've seen yourself looking 39-ish.
I have looked at myself, unfortunately, every morning. And it was actually kind of funny. I was looking at pictures with my wife from just right before we got married, which was back in 2011, 2012. Mm-hmm. Oh, such a sprightly young lad I was a short time ago. And it really
have things changed?
Yes, they have. I am in full adult mode, I guess you'd say, adulting, which is... So certain things about it are rewarding, and while other things are just kind of, you look at yourself and you're like, yeah, what happened?
I still have your birthday card in my car.
Hey, that's fine. I like getting belated. It just
right.
The whole belated birthday thing is fine in my book because it extends the celebratory nature of birthdays.
Indeed, it has.
I mean, you could keep that in your car until October or something and hand it. Hey, happy Halloween.
Happy birthday, Ween.
Yeah. I look forward to looking at that, though, Steve.
I'm sure
it's
you
nice
will,
to
Russ.
see. You got me a card. Cards are becoming more endearing as I get older, too. I've always enjoyed birthday cards.
Yeah.
But I must say it is fun because at this age, it's like if I want to buy something, odds are I'm just going to buy it myself.
Right.
I'm not looking for like a big gift, but
right.
The old sentimental quality comes into play quite nicely,
especially when it's a card from your brother.
Especially
those are the
when
best.
It's a card from my brother. Yes, yes, indeed. So how you been?
I'm doing all right. I was thinking before I got here, we've been talking about a bunch of stuff that we've been playing, but I forgot if I've told you about a couple movies that I've watched. Did I tell you I watched Atomic Blonde already?
No, I don't believe you have. I know that you... Okay, so when we saw Red Sparrow, you were recommending that I see Salt.
Yes.
And I think, based off of the limited knowledge that I understand, Atomic Blonde is also kind of in that same genre. You have kind of a...
Yeah.
Femme fatale.
Yeah, more or less. Salt's still have a better movie. This was more like Charlize Theron show off kind of stuff.
Okay, so it wasn't necessarily in the same vein as Salt or Red Sparrow. Okay. No. For some reason, the way the trailer played, it looked like she was some kind of, I don't know,
special agent woman.
Yeah, something like that.
No. Yep. Yeah, well, I mean, somewhat yes, but the story it's just a kind of a popcorny,
gotcha,
Netflixy.
But how was Charlize?
Okay. So. I also watched 3 billboards and
oh right, yeah. I remember you got that in Netflix.
So I watched that. That was also kind of so I don't really know why I was nominated, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think if you're the type of person the Academy in my own mind and my soul says what's going on here?
Yeah.
I think if you're the type of person who hates the cops and has a very randomized political view,
Yes.
you might enjoy the film. But if you're looking for something entertaining and upbeat and sincere and something you could take with you, this is not it.
Yeah, it didn't look like one of those types of films.
No. But I'm trying to watch them all the nominations. You know?
Oh, I know.
So, other than that, we haven't played very much Overwatch in a while.
We have not.
We've been sailing the high seas.
We have indeed.
We've been plundering and plowing.
Indeed.
Collecting all the chickens, all the swine, getting bit by snakes.
Yes, we have indeed.
Collecting lots of glittery bits to sell. Collecting swag.
Yes. Being able to yell out "Arr!" whenever we can.
I think we're the only people who do that. Like, we just jump on the boat and we're like singing and like being a pirate and having a grand old time. Everyone's like, okay, turn the sails.
Yeah.
Port-wise. Okay, now starboard. I'm going to drop the anchor if someone gets off. And we're like, arr, arr. Okay, sail hard. They're like,
Avast, your land lovers. Turn into plain side.
Yeah, totally. That's absolutely like, well, we need to shovel up the treasure.
somebody grab a gunpowder barrel and jump on their boat.
Aye, matey, I be grabbing the gunpowder. Sending someone down to Davy Jones's locker. Arr.
And they don't really know how to deal with us.
Oh, man.
But I mean, we actually do occasionally come across someone who's really funny. Like the guy we were playing with last night, man, he was cracking me up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it was kind of funny.
It was a lot of the stuff that gets said was just really funny.
Well, that plus we were fighting the Kraken, and the Kraken stayed around for the longest time too.
Oh my
I thought we were gonna.
gosh.
Yeah.
That was the funniest thing. Was that your first encounter with a Kraken?
No, Russ.
No, that's right.
This is gonna be like.
This is gonna turn into an inside joke.
Oh, Steve, have you been to the Skull Island thing yet? Have you done one of those? Oh, that's something we have to talk about too. We've done that so often, staying up so late, like 2 and 3 in the morning. I'm like, going to work with like bags under my eyes. Like, I don't even want to tell anybody what I was doing the night before.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny though.
Man.
I mean, like that. This game actually is really sneaky in that sense, where you lose track of how long you've been playing.
Yeah.
I suppose it plays to the strength of the game in the sense that you're just having so much fun and you're doing your thing. You don't realize how much time has passed.
Right.
And every time, and I'm so glad that I took this past week off, because every time that we're playing, we'll start, maybe around like 9 o'clock at night or something. And then we're playing till like 2 and 3 in the morning. And all of a sudden we just get this look of dread. We're like, I've got to go to bed.
Yeah.
But no, it was really funny last night, just when the Kraken showed up, and it was pretty epic. I think you got lifted into the air for the first time.
Yeah, I did actually a few times and got swallowed by the thing. And it's funny because the whole screen goes black, and you're like, dude, I'm in the guy's, and it constantly hurts you, like, because you can't breathe in there, and the Kraken has water and stuff, and so you're slowly basically being digested in a black screen, a void of nothing until you have to respawn. Kind of sucks.
Right. Yeah, no, and were you slapped into the water and back up again or not?
Yeah, I was. I thought he had dropped
me. You had a face full of ink.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Can't really see what's going on.
Yeah.
But man, it is so fun to like be like hoisted up that high, and you're like, what?
And so much is going on at the same time that it's hard to make out what the plan or the strategy is. Like, you just have to yell louder than everybody else to get their attention. Like, somebody shoot the tentacle that I'm in so I can get back on the boat.
Right.
And all I could hear between the other two guys going back and forth is you going.
It was so funny because there was just so much. That was actually the first time I noticed the Kraken's tentacles, like the tentacles were actually wrapping around the ship.
Right.
Normally, when I encounter the Kraken, they're just kind of coming up out of the water, and like they'll try and grab some of the sailors, and that's about it. But like this was the actual first time where it started to wrap itself, where I saw the ship almost go down, and so I was thinking, oh wow, this is a little more dire than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was just super fun to be able to slash at the tentacles and get them off the ship. And I got hoisted up several times into the sky. And meanwhile, this other guy, he has like the funniest voice. I can't remember what his gamer name is off the top of my head, but he's just like, "Are we going in circles? How are we going to get out of here?" And just the way he was just presenting that, I started laughing hysterically because the ship was literally going in circles. And so we were battling the Kraken for like 30 minutes or something. It was the longest time. And I was shocked because I never got the achievement. There's like that achievement that the other gamer that we were with was talking about. It's called like a Kraken good time or something, where if you actually officially defeat the Kraken, then you'll unlock it. I have not unlocked it.
Neither have I.
So
I think we could have unlocked it because typically, like the first time we were facing the Kraken, he eventually went away.
yeah.
This time he stayed there. We sailed off.
Right.
But the tentacles were just kind of like, you guys are going away. But I think if we went back and then gave it one more crack, that I think we could have won. I think we could have.
Yeah. Well, the game itself, I know that we've talked about this on the previous episode, but one of the greatest strengths of the game is just having different types of memorable experiences within the game that then you can talk to, have those water cooler moments. And I had a few of those this past week, because I put in quite a bit of Sea of Thieves time during my time off. Some of which I don't think I've even talked to you about. Like one of the things that I thought was really cool was I was by myself. I was on the sloop, and I was just going to carry out some of the voyages that I had gotten from the merchants and whatnot. So as soon as I spawned into the tavern, there was another player that was already in there.
You told me about this.
Did I tell you about this? Okay, well, I'll tell our listeners then. There's this other guy he was totally dressed to the nines. I mean, like the guy clearly had been playing this game a lot more than I have, and had just this awesome suit on and whatnot. He was in the tavern just drinking. And when I spawned in, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, and instantly I thought, is this guy just going to try and kill me after I spawn in? Because I'm so conditioned now to just expect anytime you see someone who's not a part of your crew, they just go for you. But he didn't. Instead, he just waved at me, so I waved back at him, and he had his little mug out, and so I pulled my mug out, and we started drinking grog together. And then he ran out of the tavern, so I was like, all right, well, that was been interesting. And I ended up getting an achievement for that, actually. There's an achievement if you drink with some other player who's not part of your crew. That was the mistake I made when you and Nick and myself were trying to do it. That it's not that. You have to actually get with other players who are not part of your crew.
I got some sort of achievement when we did that.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Well, okay. Hearing that, their achievement system is still wonky. I think Rare still has not fixed whatever it is that they're trying to fix, because it's just bizarre how there are certain things I know I've done I have not gotten the achievement for, and other people have done it and they have gotten it. So I don't know. But anyway, so this guy, he runs out of the tavern. I end up going out and thinking, okay, well that was fun, that was interesting. So then I make my way to the ship, and I'm putting a voyage and whatnot on, and as I'm getting back up to the top deck, I see him on my ship, and I'm thinking, oh great, now he's going to kill me. But he doesn't kill me. He's just hanging out there. And so I think, okay, this is interesting. So I figure, okay, I don't have any treasure with me. I don't have anything. I'm just going to cast off, and let's just see what happens. So I end up casting off, going to like one of the islands, and his character ends up sitting down, like he's on the top portion of the boat, and he's just kind of looking, and he's continuing to drink his grog. And like, he proceeded to help me. Like, here's a guy who, like, I get to the island, and of course there's undead skeletons trying to attack me and whatnot. And so I'm jumping off, and my voyage that I had selected was just to collect farm animals. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get some chickens, get some pigs, whatever. I was just amazed, like the guy stayed on the boat, but he was like shooting from the boat. He was shooting the skeletons and picking them off for me and whatnot. And then as we would go to these different islands to pick up the animals, like he would like be playing music, or he'd just be sitting there looking at the sunset or whatever. And then when we got back, because I was thinking when we returned to the outpost, oh, he's totally going to kill me and he's going to steal my stuff. He didn't do that either. Like we got back to the outpost and he proceeded to like carry my stuff and drop it off right at the correct merchant. And then just looked at me and like waved at me and then ran off.
He turned it in?
No. He set down the traps at the correct location of what the merchant that was. It was the business merchant, the one that wants the animals.
Right.
And then he just waited for me to catch up while I was over there. And then he waved and then just ran off. And I was thinking that is just the coolest thing because it completely turns what you've come to expect in this game from the behavior of players on its ear entirely, where it's like, wow, like. That was such a novel moment for me as a gamer where I'm playing in this MMO sandbox, and here's a guy who, I don't know what level he ultimately is, but it's just it is the coolest thing to be able to come across another player who he's literally living kind of like this nomad maverick pirate lifestyle in the game. He's not trying to go for the gold or anything. I don't know what level he is. But he was just sitting there and he just saw me come out and he just helped me for a bit and then ran off and did his own little thing. And it's just...
He's your pirate guardian angel.
Well, my thing is like, that's what makes a game like this so memorable, is like, that was completely unpredictable. I was not expecting there to be moments like that in the game at all. I thought, man, I would have never expected to have something like that go on, especially considering the fact that the game itself is very selfish inducing in terms of, I want to get some gold. I want to level up. I want to gain experience. I want to,
rob somebody.
I want. Yeah. And I mean, times like that, I think that's what keeps the game fresh for me, is just every time I start the game, I don't know what I'm going to encounter. And I think that's a really special thing. So in addition to that, like, I did find a new type of treasure chest. It's actually kind of like a barrel. I think they called it's either a barrel of 1,000 grogs or a chest of 1,000 grogs. Right. And that one was really fun because you get drunk when the instant you hold it, and so you're stumbling your way toward the merchant. You're trying your best not to fall off the dock or whatnot, and you can eventually get it there. I also noticed too, if you're holding it and you jump. The music that plays while you're holding it because you're drunk, like you hear this like real sloshy kind of sound. Apparently, like all the souls or ghosts or whatever it is that are in this thing, you'll jump and it goes, and they go, oh! It's just, I don't know, little things like that. I get a big kick out of. So that was a lot of fun. And of course, we have had a variety of different Skull Fort experiences.
Yeah. The thing is when the cloud finally forms, it's a beacon for anybody who's on the bay to come and battle it out, and it takes forever.
It really does.
Oh my goodness. And it's not so much like the waves of skeletons that keep on coming at you. It's fending off everybody who wants a piece or a taste or whatever it is. Man, it just takes forever. Except that one, I think it was... I forgot I was with you or I wasn't with you. We were there. We were just pounding it out. And then finally we were able to get whatever needed to get and get out. And that was it. And we're like, awesome.
Right.
And then earlier, I remember when we did it and someone else just spawned on our ship. And they're like, oh, man, we really made that guy's day. I mean, he just spawned on our ship after the fight was over and just turned everything in. I did that earlier.
Really?
I don't know if they had just come from the Skull Fort or not, but... I had popped on the ship and helped them do a couple different quests, and then I thought, okay, they have 2 chests and a few skulls and the turn and whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, we had like 8 chests and like an additional 8 to 12 skulls to turn in. I'm thinking, okay, I'll just keep on going back and forth and help. I mean, I think I gained about 3 or 4 levels. Thanks, guys.
That's awesome.
There was one time when I was by myself waiting for you, and taking forever to find whatever voyage I was doing and whatnot. And I finally find the treasure chest, and I think, yes. And I look up. I was shoveling the thing out, right? And I look up, and I see this other sloot coming in. And I'm like, no, because I had thrown something in the boat earlier, and so I'm sprinting back to my boat, swimming as fast as I can. And they didn't shoot me. He jumped onto my boat and started searching around, and I climbed up on the ladder, and he got out in his little blunderbuss, and I dodged his shot. Like, I jumped behind something, goes bloof, and then he had to reload, and I slaughtered him.
Nice.
And so he goes off into pirate purgatory, and his buddy slowly sails by at the helm, and I'm looking at him like, and dead on, like, what? You want some too? I just killed your buddy, by myself. And so he just kind of sails off into, whatever. And I go back, finish digging up my chest, run back to my ship, and they followed me all the way to the outpost. But guess who was the better sailor? One of me, two of them.
Excellent seamanship, my good man.
Indeed.
I do think that it was just really neat to be able to go through different experiences as it applies to the Skull Fort, because like what you were talking about, we had the one in particular where when we finally were able to take on the skeletons, we had a little bit of trouble with some other ships, but then I remember just being stuck on the island while you guys went to go get a new ship. Yeah. And it took you guys quite a while to be able to get back.
It spawned us all the way across the map.
It did. But it was cool because at that point in time, I was huffing and puffing, like grabbing all the treasures and getting them next to the shore.
Yeah.
And by and large, that was just... that was cool too, because I was constantly on the lookout, like trying to make sure no one else was going to come by and kill me and take all the treasure. I mean, I was really exposed.
Yeah.
But then I contrast that with like, what were you going to say?
I was going to tell you, finish your thought, because I had another one for you.
Well, I was going to say, like, I contrast that to another time where we were spending just hours upon hours and we just couldn't make a dent just because there were so many other sloops that were coming in and acting as harassment to just the various times where we were fighting the skeletons. We can never fully focus on getting the undead out of the way, and so that was just a no-win situation.
The last one I was going to tell you when you said exposed was last night. I was telling you I was with a crew that didn't have any headsets or mics or anything, and so we were basically signing to each other like, over here, or you need to go over there, and all the silent message kind of stuff. So we go on this very small island, and the contract was for 4 captains. It was a huge skull contract, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're fighting them all like crazy, and I'm the one keeping my eye out for our other ships to come by. And I see a galleon come up, and I can tell they're seeing what's going on. This island was so small that everybody could see. So they didn't bother blowing up our ship yet. And so 3 of the crew were fighting. I start running back to the ship, and someone else notices, and they go back to the ship too when they see me sprinting off. And they start firing cannons. I grab skulls, and I just jump back into the water, like our loot, right? And I just dump it in the water.
Really?
Yeah. So I dumped it in the water, and I knew our ship was going down because we only have half a crew who wasn't expecting anything. And lo and behold, it does, and we all spawn back. Well, everyone had the same idea, go back and finish the voyage. And so we do, and the attacking ship did not see where I had stashed my loot in the water near the rocks. Exactly. And so we go right back up. I get all my stuff. And then later on, we met up with them again, and they started like coming towards us, towards the outpost. And we were all like jumping off the ship before we even parked it just to go turn in everything. And we did. And then right as we did, I could hear them on their own mics. Because, even though they're not part of the same chat, when they get close, you can hear them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's actually a cool quality of the game itself.
I can hear them barking orders. Oh, they're jumping off. Get them. Where's the merchant? Yeah. I don't think so. Anyway.
Yeah. That is super cool. And I think, what are your thoughts on just the whole notion of it being kind of more of an unpredictable game in that sense?
I think it is what it is. There's always going to be, depending on the server that you're on, there always going to be a number of different people that are out there and on the same server, on the same ocean, doing similar contracts on nearby islands. And sometimes they have good intentions. Most of the time they don't. I mean, if you see somebody on the horizon, you're going, oh, nuts. You're gonna, How much do we have to lose?
Are most of the experiences that you have had without me playing with you, is that more just based off of the fighting itself, or have you had some very interesting encounters with other gamers?
I've had some interesting encounters with other gamers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing to really this one time. But yeah.
What did you think of the crew that we were playing with last night?
They were about average. Yeah, nothing special. I mean, it was fun, but they were so-so.
All right. Are there any favorites that come to mind that we have sailed with in the past?
No. Well, I think not you and I together, but a few. Let's see. I think last week I was with one other dude who. Everybody I joined with. I went on the sloop. And the first guy I was with was like, "Oh, hey, what's up? You scared me. I didn't know you were on my ship." And he was with someone else. I think it was his brother, and they were finishing up a contract, and his brother already jumped, and he said, "Go ahead and have this contract." And I was like, "Thank you." And we got music. And so it was a good contract, way above my level, and I finished it. And then someone else, or it was 2 contracts, but I wanted to do one of my measly ones first. And someone else joined me from India, and he was typing on his keyboard all these messages to me, but he could hear me, right? And so he was jumping off, helping me out, and then he didn't take any of the loot for himself. At some point, he go, "Oh, I gotta go. See ya." Like, I thought, well, thanks for your help. And then the third person I joined up with was like, "Okay, yeah, you got some great voyages. Let's do them. Do you know about this? Do you know about that? Do you know about this? Do you know about that?" I mean, he taught me all this stuff, and
he's the one who taught you. What was it? You were sharing that with me actually a bit, like how to get a snake to calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy was awesome. So anyway, that's about it.
All right. Well, I say we go right into our main topic of the day. What do you say, Steve?
Let's do it, Russ.
So these are the suggestions that Steve has been compiling a list of.
Aren't you going to play the topic of the day music, Russ?
No. We're just going to segue right into it, Steve.
Okay. Then.
Oh, are you missing it?
I am.
You're missing it. He's missing it. Okay, just for you. Let's have ourselves a massive topic of the day. That make you happy?
Thanks, Russ.
Does that bring a joyful tear to your eye?
It does. I think this topic is important to talk about right now, Russ.
Do you?
Yes. For the mere fact that we've been putting on the shelf in the last couple of weeks. Focus on Sea of Thieves. So hopefully some of these changes will maybe go to the ears.
Plant a few seeds.
Plant a few seeds to Mr. Jeff Kaplan.
Mr. Kaplan, yes. The mastermind of Overwatch.
Indeed. So I'm trying to keep a small list here, Russ.
Oh, a small list, he says. I have no idea what you have written down.
Small list, medium-sized list. It all kind of depends on what your range is. But I should preface this. I began to notice a lot of things that I have been taking note of ever since Doomfist came out.
Okay.
So that's where I'm starting.
Okay.
A lot of these are going to sound familiar to you, Russ.
That's quite all right.
I need your input.
It's amazing how us being local and being siblings, we, surprise, really do talk about a lot of things. So.
Yeah, we do. So here's what's up, Russ. Let me start out with this.
Okay.
So obviously the game has a lot of DLC and auto updates and stuff that it's been going on. But there's a lot of few things that you just need to iron out and not touch again. For example, like the music. Sometimes if the game starts, it'll have like the ending music of 30 seconds left kind of deal instead of like the beginning music of rush to the payload or rush to where you're supposed to get. Or it'll have like absolutely no music at all. You just kind of jump around and leave. Like, okay, well, what happened to the music? Are we doing something different? Like, what is going on?
Right.
Or you know how they have the profile pictures with your portrait and that shows your level. Sometimes it'll just show your level and no portrait, just the picture, or it'll be the picture and the portrait with no level. And it's just kind of like, okay, that's not big. It's just like, maybe iron that out,
Polish it a little bit more.
polish it up. Or for example, on the dropship when you first get to where you get to, and you all are just throwing
You're hanging out, waiting for the
throwing
countdown
the basketball
timer.
around. Yeah, when that door drops to get out, before Doomfist was released, you could jog down the door, no problem. Now, if you jog down the door, the whole screen goes and like it shudders every single time. You don't notice it too much because you play a lot of characters that can just fly and jump and you just float kind of out. But if you walk down the door and not jump, the whole screen just shakes.
Interesting.
Every time. Every single time.
Weird. Yeah, I haven't noticed that. Even as Diva, I'll play as Diva and I won't necessarily always blast out the gate. I'll just run out there, and I have not noticed any kind of shaking going on with the screen. That sounds like it's probably just some sort of bug or whatever that they have to
Yeah,
fix.
it's just something small, but never happened before. And the last thing I would notice is every once in a while when I'm playing somebody, their weapon won't load. It'll just be my screen or my hands moving, but there won't be a weapon.
Yeah.
Or if I try and hit reload, they won't reload. So I'm just a sitting duck. Like what do I do?
Yeah, that is something I've noticed with Overwatch too, and it's because it's an online game that all the assets have not had time to populate into the world yet.
Yeah.
And that is a bit of an issue because you can tell Blizzard is trying to minimize the amount of load time it takes in order for the game to get started. So I think that if they could just, I don't know, have the loading screen be on there for maybe 2 to 3 more seconds longer.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I think most, if not all, of the assets will be spawned into the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, that has it is a bit of a detractor, especially if you're dropped into a game that's already in progress and you're already trying to figure out, okay, what's the strategy, what's going on, are we behind, are we ahead? Anyway, continue.
But other times I'm already in the little sandbox, little world, and I just can't reload my weapon. So I'm like, great, whatever. I think, Russ, during Chateau Deathmatch, I don't think they should notify you if you contributed to the elimination of someone else if you do not get the elimination. Because remember, it only counts if you completely eliminate somebody. So you could take off the last 10 hit points of somebody and you get the credit versus someone else who took off the first 90 hit points off somebody, right? But even if you were the one who got 90 hit points off the person, you wouldn't get credit for the elimination. The person who finished the person off would get it. But it would still show on your screen, eliminated, Junkrat, or eliminated, so-and-so, and you're thinking, yes, and then you look at the scoreboard and it still says 0, and you're thinking, why is it telling me that I'm getting credit for these eliminations?
You're talking about the text that comes on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. At first I thought you were talking about the thumbnails that appear in the upper right-hand corner
Right.
where it shows who who contributed to the elimination of that particular character. But yeah, I agree. I think it would be a nice change up with the text itself where instead of saying, honestly, I don't remember what it says, if it says like so-and-so eliminated or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But perhaps they could have some sort of text that says you assisted,
There you go.
or something like
Right.
that. So
Yeah.
that way it goes without saying there's no argument as to like who killed who. It's just, okay, I was the one who helped. I aided in the elimination of this particular character.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be a nice little change, and that'd be a quick little fix. It wouldn't be a heavy lift at all.
Right.
What else you got?
I guess it all me, so I'll just say the thought. The skybox should be higher.
Okay.
Think about it. If you're Pharah or even Diva or Junkrat, someone who could fly up really high in the air or jump really high in the air, you can only get to a certain point, and then it's like you're hitting your head on something. So let's say you're Pharah and you're on, what is that? Eichenwald. And
You got Sea of Thieves on the brain. You're starting to forget the names of the maps.
yeah. And you're trying to fly over just the house. You can hardly even do it.
Yeah, I think. Again, I haven't really jumped over every single building that exists within Eichenwald, but I don't necessarily. I think that if they were to lift it, maybe lift it just a little bit more.
Right.
But
Not a ton, but a little bit.
yeah, I know that I do a heavy amount of playing as Farah, and I just don't. There's really not a way to get even that much higher. Like if you're on I suppose the highest tower or something, and then you do your boost and then you start flying, you could probably get a little bit higher.
Yeah, your phone agrees.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But it's not limited to that map at all either. It could be on Ilios, where you're on an elevated platform.
Mm-hmm.
Or what's the map? I forgot another map. What's the map with the factory? It's like in Moscow.
Oh, Volskaya.
Yeah, or you can be on one of those platforms. Then you hit Farah's rocket jump, and
boost.
she just she just hits her head. She can only go so high. I don't know. It just I would like to. Her main thing is to fly. Why don't you just raise the skybox level so she can get more altitude?
I also think too that there are game design rules that are kind of in place, if you will. Where,
sure.
Like if you're playing as a certain type of character on the opposing team, their trajectory of weaponry has to also be able to reach Farah. So like if she goes higher, then they of course have to.
True.
And then that of course creates a bit of a domino effect in the sense that, well, then if they were to have the length be stretched out farther, then that also means horizontal in addition to vertical. So I think that you begin to run into some sticky situations. Like, for instance, if you're Hanzo, there is a limit to how far your arrow will go. And the arrow will begin to drop because clearly he's shooting from a bow and arrow.
Torbjorn, the same thing.
Yeah. So when you have that, that then begins to alter a lot of the other types of character gameplay attributes. And I don't think I'm necessarily against that idea. I do think that it would require quite a bit of balancing.
True. Although when you're fair as well, your rocket has to fire a longer distance, which now it becomes a timing issue for you too. So it might be if you need to fly away to get out of a dangerous situation, then you can do that. But if you're about to fire back at somebody else, you got to really time your shot because it's going to take an extra second or two for that shot to go across the map or however far you are.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking so much of Farah as I was thinking about just can opposing players be able to reach? Clearly, certain players can. Like if you're Soldier 76, you're going to be able to shoot at her and you'll be able to reach and that sort of thing. So what else you got?
Let's see. Zarya needs a nerf.
Okay, completely agree with you on that one.
So she has a passive shield and she has a physical shield, like two shields in one. And in certain game types like Mayhem, when everything reloads in 2 seconds, by the time her shield is gone, which lasts 2 or 3 seconds, she just puts it right back up again, which makes her almost impossible to kill.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, that is one of the biggest issues I've had with Overwatch that I want them to fix. It's amazing to me how quick they are to nerf other characters in Overwatch. That, if I were to spend time looking at what it is that they have buffed the character with, or if they feel like one of the original attributes of the character is too buffed and they need to nerf it down. Fine. I could see certain things like that. I am shocked at how they have not addressed the issue with Zarya. Yeah. They have not touched her at all. And she is seriously one of the most overpowered characters in that game. It is, I don't know.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's one of those things that really, it's not so bad that it causes me not to want to play the game, but it definitely does put a damper a bit on the fun factor when I see one of the players goes for her. And that's one of the things too, is when you're playing the game, odds are when a player chooses Zarya, the only reason is because they know that she's so overpowered.
Right.
That they're going to be able to get more kills and they're going to be able to have a better chance at winning the game and stuff, as opposed to just really getting to grips with the character itself.
Right.
And be able to leverage a lot of the different types of abilities that character has.
In contrast, I think Winston needs a buff.
I also agree. I agree with that.
What I suggest is see what he does with his little generator electricity weapon of sorts.
I don't know what the actual technical name of that weapon is.
So if 3 people are in close proximity to him, he can hit all 3, and it gradually decreases their hit points and whatnot. But I think if it's only one person and not multiple, then it should be a lot stronger of a pulse because you're concentrating all his firepower to one person, one target versus multiple.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, he doesn't really have much else besides a really quick shield, which doesn't last. I mean, it's only about 10 seconds by itself.
I do like the duration of the shield. I would not want that shield to be any
Well, that's what I'm
stronger.
saying. Is his abilities are fine as they are,
Yeah.
but something else just needs to be a little bit stronger.
I would suggest that his ultimate allowed to be able to slap around the enemy more, because I could see that as being like a huge leg up for like if you're on a map that has certain edges where you can fall off and whatnot, and especially if it's what is that play mode? It's not the payload, but it's almost like territories where like you're having to try and claim that area for some time.
Objective A and Objective B.
Well, I think it's just one objective. It's not objective A and B. It's the one where you're literally, it's like king of the hill. You know, you're staying in that area, and then once the timer, well, not the timer, but like the percentages reach 100%, then you win. I think that would be really helpful. Like if he goes into an ultimate and he's able to just really slap people around where they really get knocked away. Because I don't think it is as powerful as far as little rocket that she shoots out.
Not even. Or if he like hit the ground really hard, like bam, and it made some little concussive wave.
Yeah,
kind of like when he jumps, but if he just like hit the ground and it was bigger. That something of the sorts.
Agreed.
Matchmaking, Russ. Matchmaking still needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Now there's a few things. Number 1, the wait time is random, heavily random. There's millions of people playing the game. If you go start, play the game, you could be waiting there. I've waited there almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes it does take a while.
And that's the way far into the spectrum. But sometimes you hit matchmaking and within a few seconds, okay, here's a skirmish while we search for more players. Other times you're staring at a loading screen, which it could just be 2 or 3 minutes, but that's 2 or 3 minutes of just staring at the loading screen waiting for something to happen.
Right.
So they either need to put like NPCs, computer controlled bots for you to just to do something with in the meantime, or just put you in a map just so you can move around.
Yeah, just distract yourself while you're waiting for it.
Exactly. Just don't give me a turning wheel that I need to have to stare at for however long. The other thing that needs to be addressed is the variety of people that they can cycle in and out, because it's often enough. I was going to say often, but not so often, but often enough. We're with a certain amount of folks, and maybe we don't play well as a team. They don't have mics on. They're not obeying, commands like, okay, let's all group up. Let's do this. Let's do that. Everyone wants to be the lone wolf and be a one-man army. So we think, okay, well, next match we'll just get a whole new team together and let's try it again. And then we'll get the same team we were just with and completely uncompatible. And again, there's millions of people playing the game all over the globe, and we can't get matched up with anybody else except for the incompatible team that we have, So, or we've completely exited out, right? We've completely gone back to the start screen, had a nice conversation, maybe drink a brew, and then go back to playing the game, and we're still with the same people. What are the chances?
I remember when I was playing Halo, and that was actually one of the things that I thought was fun. It wasn't as prevalent as what you're describing with Overwatch, but I did really enjoy times when there was a really heated match with another team, and then every once in a while, the very next match we'd go to, it would be the exact same team,
right.
And then everybody would respond on the headsets like, "Oh, yeah, encore, second match." I think that it is fun to be able to have that. And I don't see it too often in Overwatch. I mean, I do see what you're saying. I do see that there are more often than not, you'll see some of the same players over and over again.
When you and I play, it seems like it's often enough.
Yeah.
Like, especially when we're doing capture the flag and we memorize everybody's names because that's how often they pop up. We're with them again.
Yeah, no, I am surprised about that. And especially considering that they have the whole party up option where if you want to stay with people who you played with on the same team, you do have that. But then playing with other people, I don't know, I go back and forth on that. It doesn't, at times it doesn't necessarily bother me to play the same people like over and over again for like 2 or 3 matches, provided that they are not a pain to play with.
Right. But that you can't control it.
Yeah, you can't control it. But I mean, well, in a way you can control it. You can leave the game and just start over again.
And hope for the best.
But yeah, I would say that's probably a lower, on the lower end of things. What else you got?
We got to talk about competitive.
Competitive Overwatch.
So sometimes, and this is a nice little segue, is that sometimes when we go into a competitive match, it'll find something, and we're thinking, yes, match, here we go. Get pumped, get crazy. And then you drop this right in going, 10 seconds remaining. We're going, where are we? What's happening? And then we just lose. And it's like, oh, yeah, you got to lose some competitive points because you lost the match. Like, well, we only had 10 seconds. What, I think that needs a fix. But at the same time, if you're playing competitive and then you have a member or members of your team who leave, and all of a sudden you're handicapped and it's 4-on-6 or 5-on-6 or 3, something, and it's inevitable you're going to lose. I either think that I suggest that they decrease the amount of points that you will lose because it's obvious you're going to lose. And also increase the amount of points that you could win if you guys turn it around with the handicap. Because all of a sudden, I mean, everybody is going to be a negative Nancy at that point. Okay, we lost somebody.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose either because, if you even escape the game, you're going to get negative competitive points anyhow. So either way, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I would be curious to know exactly how their ranking system works because I am not familiar at all with... First of all, okay, how many points can you win versus how many do you lose? And then based off of that, if you have a team who does in fact win with a handicap of losing one or more players on their team, have they already factored that into the winnings if you were to win that match? If you were to win a competitive match with a handicap, do they compensate you with like what you're talking about with the points already or not? I unfortunately have no idea.
Yeah.
They may do that already. We just don't know. But if they don't, I think that is a great idea because there's nothing sucks more than when you're in a competitive match, you're trying to move up the ranks and then someone just decides to rage quit or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then suddenly your team is just at a severe disadvantage. What else you got?
This one I need to pick your brain on because you started to play Orisa a little bit.
Yes.
What would you think if they gave her a small buff, meaning like not lock her down so much when she fires?
So Orisa is predominantly a defensive player. And if you know how to use her properly, she can really act as a bottleneck. If you don't know how to play her, then she's just a pretty useless character. But that, if once you get to grips with what it is that she does, I mean, she's primarily a defense and support unit. And I, for one, really enjoy using her on payload-oriented objectives. I mean, yeah, you could kind of use her for the other ones as well, but payload especially is great because you have certain choke points in a map, and you can leverage that to your advantage if you're playing as someone like Orisa. But it's on the flip side, if I'm attacking Orisa, and especially if it's against a good player who knows how to use Orisa, that character is pretty tough. I mean, the whole notion that you can drop your shield down as soon as one breaks, that's a huge advantage that a lot of other characters really don't have. I mean, Winston can drop a bubble shield, but his burn down time in order for the shield to become available again is longer. Whereas with hers, I mean, she's just dropping it down, dropping it down.
She can't. Once hers breaks, she can't automatically drop it back down. She still has a timer that
she has a timer, but in my play experience playing as her, by the time that shield actually breaks, I mean, unless you have the entire other team just focusing all their firepower on her shield, typically, like by the time that thing breaks, I can easily just throw another one down. And then on top of that too, she has that other kind of I can't remember what the correct name is of her ability, but it's where she can almost like fortify herself, like her skin turns gold temporarily.
That's not any kind of the only thing that does is basically like if Roadhog throws his chain at her, and she does that at the same time, and she won't get stunned, or she won't get stunned by McCree's grenade, or if May throws down her ultimate to freeze everything, she can still walk out. She won't get frozen. That's all that does, but that doesn't give her any more shield or anything like that. That's just some sort of defensive mechanism for those certain attacks. Yeah,
that particular ability I'm still trying to get to grips with. I haven't fully figured that out yet. But like her ultimate, for instance, throwing down that pod of sorts, and it boosts everybody for a while. That's actually really helpful for the team too, provided you don't forget to use it.
Right.
So I think that Orisa as a whole, I would say she's pretty balanced. There's nothing that comes to mind at the moment where I would think, oh, they need to tweak this.
Yeah. I kind of feel that she still needs to move a little more freely when she's firing, only because her projectiles are not.
They're slower.
They're slower, right? Yeah. So you need to time it better. And number one, and number two, they're weaker, which is why they give her more ammo, is because you have to hit somebody a lot more. It's
balanced. Yeah.
The other thing I think that needs a little bit of work is her little reverse gravitron charge, right? So if you throw that out, anybody in any kind of movable object in the game gets thrown into this thing. I would like to see this be used to move D.Va's ult, for example. Because if you think, wherever she puts that thing, it goes. And you have to run out of the way, you have to hide it, you have to hide yourself so in order to not get hit by this nuclear blast, right? I would like to see.
Remind me again. How does that? I mean, is it something that does it suck all the opposing characters into one spot?
Right. It's like a black hole. A mini black hole of sorts.
Yeah.
So if the whole party is coming at you, you can fire this thing, and it will suck everybody back for a second. Or if someone's close to the cliff, you can fire it kind of towards the cliff, and if they're relatively close, they'll suck them out, and then they'll drop them down.
Yeah.
There's no way to move D.Va's mech once she ults. And I think it would be cool if somebody was Orisa and they shot that thing and they were just able to move it, at 5 feet or whatever.
Sure.
I think that would be awesome.
That would be a game changer, yeah.
Also, too, a lot of other abilities, kind of like what's the monk's name? The robot Zenyatta. So his Discord can go through shields.
Yeah.
Right. I would think that even if somebody has a shield going, that this black hole, this reverse gravitron would still be able to work. And when Zarya is shielded, she can't be moved either. So I think everything in the world needs a little bit of a balance with that all, because as it stands, you can't really do much except for move players around.
Sure.
So if you can move other objects and players, what difference would it make if, the object was ulting or shielded?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're picking up when I'm throwing down?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm seeing what you're sawing.
This one you're not going to care about too much. I've been playing a lot of McCree lately.
You've been playing McCree in the skirmishes, but I haven't seen you play as McCree in any of the actual matches.
I don't want to disappoint you, Russ. I'm not at that level yet. Now, if you think about it, he has that little somersault thing. He gets out of the way pretty quick.
He channels his gymnastics, yes.
Yeah, he does. That has an 8-second cooldown time. All he does is do one somersault. Now, think about this, Russ. I wrote some abilities down, and their time. Let me begin. Mercy has her little fly over to somebody who is across the map, right?
A little dive action.
A little dive action.
Fly,
yeah. You know what the cooldown time of that is?
No.
2 to 3 seconds.
Okay.
She can go across the map. Reinhardt You already know this. He can charge all the way across the map. Cooldown time 8 seconds.
That's a long time.
I know, but he can do damage, but he's going all the way across the map.
Well, he's not going all the way across.
Well, I mean,
the map.
you can. Okay, fine.
He can cover. I mean, he can barely turn when he's doing that, so
right.
he will inevitably run
Okay,
into
Mr.
something.
Literal. He can go for a long distance.
Make sure we're on the same page. Keep going.
Sombra, similar ability. She can run. Okay, sprint really fast. She's doing whatever I am. Soldier 76, same thing. No cooldown time. He can sprint.
Yep.
Okay. Genji, dash. Cooldown time 8 seconds. And he does damage. You see where I'm going with this?
I hear a lot of 8 seconds.
Tracer has the blink ability that recharges constantly, and she's going quite a lot longer distances, okay? Distance, damage, time, all relative. And then we have McCree. I wasn't even done yet. I have a little bit more to go, but I'll stop there. McCree just does one somersault, and he just goes 3 feet, and then it's a cooldown time of 8 seconds. I'm thinking, come on, really? 8 seconds?
One of the things that comes to mind.
You were quiet there for a minute.
Well, I'm thinking about McCree's abilities because he has the stun ability, which is actually at this point in time a very rare ability that any character in the game has, and that is saying something. I mean, if you launch out that stun ability, you basically get a kill. Like if you know how to play as McCree, like
Yeah.
you're going to get it unless you're playing up against a tank that is at full hit points. But
You would have to use both abilities at the same time.
sure,
The
somersault and the dodge or whatever it is.
feather the hammer ability. Otherwise, you're not going to get it, and the person can pretty much kill you.
Yeah, but again, I think McCree strikes me as a character that is balanced. I wouldn't want to see anything changed on McCree.
That's a small balance, Russ.
I just
You need a little bit.
McCree is the type of character where, again, if you know how to really play him, he can just devastate the battlefield. I mean, it's pretty impressive how some of these expert players, they can just get out there and they know how to stick to the walls and the corners. They know that they're too squishy of a character, and honestly, they're too slow of a character to really hold their own in the open battlefield. So they try and stick to the shadows and stuff, and they'll pick people off from a distance. And the gun is, once again, if you know how to play
Right.
as McCree, I mean, you're getting kill after kill after kill because his gun is extremely powerful because he only gets like 6 shots before he has to reload, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, certain characters, they give you the ability to cancel your ultimate. What do you think about that, Russ? And if you cancel it, then your ult goes back to 0 as if you used it.
So I have a bit of a beef with this.
I knew you would.
It is so.
What is it? Just spit it out.
I'm trying to formulate my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm waiting. The audience is waiting.
When it comes to the ultimate, here, oh man,
Oh my gosh.
There are times
You want some milk and cookies?
No. I'm trying to be articulate about this, Steve. I have had so many times especially playing as Pharah, where I will, as Pharah, you become immobile when you do your ultimate. You're staying in one place and you're doing your rocket barrage. And there have just been so many times where I hit the ultimate, but then I get killed too soon. And I'm not even like in the middle of doing my ultimate. I'm about to say justice and I get killed.
Justice!
Yeah.
Why does Russ keep saying that? I keep hearing him say justice
The
upstairs.
word of the day is justice. So, but then what will happen is that most of the time my ultimate will go back down to 0. And there have been very few times where, like, for instance, there will be times, to be fair, where like it'll only go down to like 30%. Like at least it won't go down to 0. It won't drain down to 0. But the thing that's super annoying about that is the fact that there really wasn't any ultimate. I mean, if you want to be technical about it, yes, I hit the Y button on the Xbox controller. It activated the ultimate. Even though there was no explosions or anything, I hit Y and then I died right away. at the same time, most of the time when I'm looking at my ultimate, it's back to 0 again. That's highly irritating because there was no payoff from that. Now, and again, I get that. I'm not looking for a participation trophy type of solution to that, but I would like to see something along the lines of, if you initiate an ultimate and you die, perhaps you can get it'll reduce your ultimate to 50%. Something along the lines where you're not so penalized for dying right when you're doing your ultimate, because it takes forever to charge it back up.
But why do they give you the option to cancel it?
Well, I don't even know if I'm even able to cancel the ultimate.
A lot of the characters. Maybe you are, maybe you're not with Farah.
I know McCree, I think you can cancel.
But it goes back, well, definitely with McCree. But I think some other characters, Soldier 76, it allows you to cancel. And you just hit the other trigger, and then it cancels it.
Diva, you can't cancel either. Once you activate
Once you're
it,
out, you're out. Exactly. Yeah. So to me, it doesn't make any sense why it's there. Why would someone choose to move their ultimate from 0 and extremely powerful ability and just restart it again? It doesn't make any sense. If it went down to 50%, I could see it, because sometimes I've hit the Y button by mistake. I just barely graze it and it goes, okay, here it goes. I'm like, no, there's no one here. And if I cancel it, at least it's not that bad of a pill to swallow if it goes back to 50%.
There is a bit of drama that is associated with that, or maybe not drama is the right word. It's more like there's the gravity of the situation, because when you decide to actually initiate your ultimate, you have to commit to that ultimate. And there's something that I do appreciate about that, because once again, it's a valuable asset. You can't just haphazardly I'm going to use it here. Oh, no, I'm not going to use it here. I'm going to use it here. No, I'm not going to use it here. And you go back and forth, back and forth. No, there is something that is very epic about when you hit that button and you're going to initiate your ultimate, you better be in a good position, because you're going to have to charge that back up if you waste it. Yeah. And there's something I really do appreciate about that. I suppose if they wanted to play around with the idea that maybe all players can get one cancel per life, where if you're going around and you decide you're going to do your ultimate and then you realize, oh, I'm out of position, and you decide to cancel it, you can do that one time, which will cost you, I go back and forth on this too, because on the one scenario can play out, you get one cancel, and then you still maintain your 100% ultimate ability, and then you can initiate it again during that life. Then if you die, if you get killed, you can come back, and then you'd have the option to cancel it. Another avenue would be, if you do want to have some sort of penalty for not actually following through with your ultimate itself, you could have some sort of penalty in place for the charge time of the ultimate. So if you were about to do your ultimate and then you cancel it, you lose 20% of your ultimate. So now you're down to 80%. You can't actually initiate your ultimate. You have to charge up that 20%. But hey, that's a whole lot better than going from 100% to 0% because you realized you were out of position, or you had to cancel, or you got shot and killed while you were trying to activate your ultimate. There could be something like in line for that, where you would have a universal cancellation option for every character. You would be penalized a little bit, but at least at that point in time, it strikes me as being more fair.
Mm-hmm. Well, glad you finished your thought. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about friendly fire, or self-inflicted fire, Russ. Now, if you think about it, Farah, okay? Farah, let's talk about it. So if she launches a rocket, if you're Farah and you launch a rocket at me just because you're playing around, I'm not going to take any damage.
Right.
If you point your cannon down and you are right against the wall and you fire, you're going to take some damage.
I've done that.
Okay? Doesn't make any sense. Soldier 76 can do the same thing. If you accidentally fire his rockets too close to somebody, or too close to the enemy or to a wall, he'll take damage. Even if you fire it at the team, they won't take damage. Junkrat, and I could be wrong, but I knew this was at some point between Doomfist and now, he could step on his C4 mine and explode it.
Yeah, he can still do that.
And go way high in the air. And he used to not take any damage. So to me, unbalanced.
Well, and to my understanding, I think he still does not take any damage for that. I think that's still an ability that allows him to get airtime.
Right. So You have certain players who don't take damage with it. You have the rest of the team who doesn't take damage from it. But then you have certain characters who do take damage from it. To me, it doesn't make any sense. I would like to see no friendly fire. I mean, if we're going to have friendly fire, it has to be everybody. If there's going to be no friendly fire, you know, why just select and choose? If it's not going to hurt some people and then it's going to hurt some other, you know.
I like the idea of self-inflicted damage just because it adds accountability to you as a player. Like you can't, once again, it goes back to that whole notion of, look, you need to be aware of your surroundings. Like if you're going to commit to doing something, whether it's your ultimate or you're just going to try and shoot something, you can't be sloppy about it. You have to be very precise. You have to take the time to get into the correct position, be aware of your surroundings. I for one really liked. I mean, Halo was, I think, the same way, wasn't it? Like when you're using the rocket launcher, if you shot something too close, you could damage yourself or you could kill yourself.
Right, or you kill your teammate.
I don't think
you definitely could.
No,
You do
not in Halo.
Yeah,
no, you're playing like team-based Slayer. No one would die. You could throw a grenade or whatever. Like,
oh yeah, all the time. Oh, of course. Even when you're playing the regular game and you're like, oh, let's do the warthog jump. Back in the beginning, you threw a bunch of grenades and they all exploded and you like flew way over the arch. Come on, Russ.
I remember that when you're playing co-op story mode, but when you're playing multiplayer, like you're playing team-based Halo, like you could shoot your assault rifle at your buddy. They're not going to take any damage.
I think you could still take damage from rocket launchers and grenades. Yeah, the assault rifle, no, but from grenades and explosives, you could.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Because I remember like when you're playing Slayer itself, you know, it's a free for all. Clearly, everyone's going to be able to damage everybody.
Yeah,
but in team based, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember any kind of like ability to be able to still harm your teammates.
Oh yeah, I remember all the time. And like even if you're driving around the warthog and someone shoots a rocket or a grenade, you could kill your entire team.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been forever since I played that.
All right. Well, so anyhow,
I'll take your word for it.
We'll have to agree on to disagree on that. I don't think there should be any friendly fire. I think if you're going to pick and choose, oh, this character is going to get hurt by an explosion. This character is not going to get hurt by an explosion. I just think,
Well, in friendly fire in Overwatch, though, in Overwatch, you're just talking about injuring yourself. It's not like you can injure other people.
Either way. If you're going to put a little pack of C4 and you're going to blow it up underneath yourself and not take any damage.
Yeah, you're basically talking about characters who do take damage from their weapons versus characters who do not. And they have made a conscious effort to try and like when it comes to Junkrat, they've made a conscious decision to actually give him the ability to be able to explode himself upward to gain abilities of just being able to see what's going on as well as get out of like a tight situation simply because he's a slower character. That's part of the balancing versus with like someone like Pharah, like I could do like my rocket boost and just instantly just get out of the way and have also vertical command, so to speak, of just being able to see what's going on all the time. So
even with Diva, if she does her ult and she's not hiding behind anything, she doesn't get killed. Doesn't even take any damage.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm more ambivalent on that. What else you got?
Mercy. You know I love Mercy. Close to my heart. Rez. It's almost a mute point now at this time. You know, it's like it's basically dwindled down to. You're going to sacrifice yourself to raise another one of your teammates. Drink it up, Russ. To me, that just seems counterproductive. There's a lot of, I think, grumbling going on for people who don't want a healer or can't stand a healer. Or if they get an epic kill and then someone else just raises them back up, they want to piss and moan about it.
Sure.
I think, who cares? That's part of the game.
I realize, too, that you have been greatly affected by the changes that have gone on with Mercy. I still am a little on the sidelines about all that, just simply because I don't really play Mercy very often. And while I do, I, for one, really liked the idea of being able to do group reses. I think that was always an epic moment in gameplay when you think all hope is lost. Your entire team is down, and all of a sudden, like the entire team gets raised all together. that completely just brings back initiative.
Everybody in the team goes, "Oh my gosh!" And the rest of the team goes, "Oh no!"
Right?
Yeah, so awesome.
Yeah, it never gets old, and so that is a missed thing, I think. I do. On the flip side, though, I do think that the new changes that they have applied to Mercy make her more of a deeper character to play as. Because once again, I've played against characters. I've played against players who choose Mercy as their character, and they are forced to be reckoned with. I mean, it's amazing how they're able to get kills in addition to healing their teammates and whatnot. So I don't know. It goes back and forth. I think that there is more balancing that is needed for Mercy in order to try and please both parties.
What I would suggest is if they want to keep the res as is, I would say with her healing stream, if somebody walks in between, like if I'm healing you and then someone else walks in between, I think the healing for both, I think there should be healing for both, but like cut to half in a way. I mean, why not? That makes sense. If there's a healing stream that I'm hitting you and someone else walks in the middle, they should get healed too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll speed things up a bit, Russ. So I think Reinhardt should be able to punch through May's ice wall because right now there is no counter to it.
That would be cool. I agree.
During promo events, I think there should be a way
Your
to...
promo event.
Exactly, I am. You know when they had to play those little cut scenes in the beginning, and you have like that one person who wants to continually watch the same thing again and again. You have three other people who are like, "Let's move it on." I think there should be a way to like, "Hey, hit the A button. Let's go. Encourage the promotion, right? At the same time, I think there should be more promotionary loot. Like if you get it, it shouldn't. If you get like legendary, for example. And then it's the legendary that you could get anytime during the year. And you're like, oh, well, this is the during promo event. Come on.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think that if it's a coin and not an item, it shouldn't be like 500 for legendary loot. It should be like 750 or 1,000, considering that anything, depending on the event of the year, costs anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000, right? Let me see, Russ. You're giving me the eye. Let's see. I would think it's cool if you get armor from somebody that you could see visual cues that they have armor, not just in the little life bar.
That'd be cool.
That'd be neat. I'd like to see a new emote for nice attack or well played. Okay. I'd like to see a support hero. I can throw out different power-ups than what we've already seen. I think I queued on this before. I want to see like if they throw it out, that one person can move faster, recharge faster, or jump higher, give new abilities, right? Maybe with an ultimate of like the opposite of Zenyatta's Transcendence, be like the Transcendence but Discord. So anybody who's near, like they're really weak, their life starts draining down, sort of things. So everyone's trying to avoid this character, right? And have her be another melee character, maybe two batons, right? And I'll finish up with this. You have a lot of skins and cosmetics in the game, right, that you can choose from. I think there needs to be customization with if you want to color palette your own character or do things with it, you can do that, and have skins for your weapons.
I think skins for the weapons would be... Well, they're pretty good. I'm thinking about the different types of skins that are already existing in the game, and you can look at the weapons that go along with it. I mean, I think that Blizzard does a fantastic job just decking out both the uniform and the different types of weapons.
This will be a whole separate branch. They already have it set with the gold weapon you can buy. I would say extend it even further. Let them buy more.
Okay. Well, a lot to digest. A lot to just let your noodle kind of marinate on there for a while. I believe that wraps up this episode. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode, show your support by checking out patreon.com/Joygasm and pledge $1 a month to get the most out of the show. Also, you can follow us on social media and YouTube. Just do a search for Joygasm TV. In addition to iTunes and Android, you can listen to our podcast on TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.com/Joygasm TV. Last but not least, search Joygasm TV on Twitch to see us stream our gaming adventures live every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. We'll see you next time.
Later.